Moon Gang, I hope that you're having a phenomenal day. This is your weekend update for both AMC and GameStop, and boy do we have some important things to talk about. So just to set the scene a little bit, to close out the third week of trading in May, AMC was at 12.15 and GameStop was at 175.26. In terms of the short interest numbers, GME is sitting at 20.43% current short interest based on the free float. On Friday, we saw a net borrow increase of 57,000 shares. The utilization sitting around 63%, and the shares on loan is 14.54 million. And in terms of the days to cover, based on the 2-week average, we are looking at 2.7 days. And in terms of the technicals, this is GME's daily chart. Just so you know, over the past week, GameStop's up 10.55%, and from the start of this calendar year until this very moment, we're up 838%. That's absolutely incredible. So in terms of the technicals, what I will be looking for this upcoming week is basically a continuation of this pattern. From May 11th up until May 18th, very, very nice movement in GME. It consolidated. The RSI was just getting a little bit hot, especially on the 30-minute and the 4-hour time frame. From there, though, we recaptured this trend line, and I'm looking for this kind of miniature cup and handle to play out. Basically, we went from 190 back up to 190. Second rejection, but we have a new higher low, which means that the bull camp is starting to step in earlier. I'm looking for this third test and, knock on wood, hopefully a breakout of 190. From there, I'm going to watch the key psychological level of 200, and past that, I'm going to watch the top end of this trend line. Please do not sleep on GME. I know it's been low volume recently, kind of also low volatility, but what we're seeing from a technical perspective, I mean, it's going up. Like, it's starting to trend very, very nicely. So do not sleep on GameStop. And let's talk about what's going on in AMC. First of all, a little bit of a fundamental update right here. Box office. F9 speeds to huge $162.4 million start overseas, dominated in the Chinese box office. Remember, it hasn't even hit the US market. That's coming in late June, I believe around June 25th. But obviously, if this movie does really well, that's a nice fundamental catalyst for AMC. And then also don't forget about Black Widow, which will be coming out in early July. So back to back, we have two movies that could absolutely dominate in the box office. Very, very good for AMC. In terms of the short interest numbers, on Friday, we saw a little bit of a different trend. Early last week, we saw that there was net returns every day. Friday was different. There was a net borrow of 3.3 million shares, which puts the current short interest percentage of the free float at 15.28%, utilization 97%, almost at that 100% max value, and the shares on loan currently sitting just around 124 million. So if you take this into account, we're probably going to start off Monday around 127 million shares on loan. In terms of the days to cover, based on that 2-week average, we're around one full trading day. And the other thing that I don't talk enough about, but I do want to bring to your attention right now, here's the on loan. So basically, this is how long people who have been borrowing the shares on loan, how long they've been borrowing them for. We have seen a massive run up from 18.5 days. At one point, we were up to 53, but keep in mind that the people who have been renting these shares out, and most likely a high majority of them are actually short against AMC, they've been in this for 46 days. Why is that important? Remember, to lend out shares, like when you're actually borrowing them too short, you're paying a fee every single day. Every single day that AMC is going sideways, going up, right here, they're paying an extra fee. This is getting very, very painful for them. If you own AMC, it's nothing. You own it, and it doesn't cost you anything besides your initial investment. For them, don't forget, not only are they most likely underwater on their short position, but beyond that, they're paying a fee, and they've been paying the fee on average now for a month and a half. That is very important to note. The longer this goes on, their potential profit for them betting against it gets less and less, because as we drag this out, it's more painful for them. That is very important to notice. Beyond, I do want to do the technicals, but another thing I want to bring up just in terms of data right here is if we look at the options market, don't forget, in terms of big money, I'm looking at the June 18th expiration date, come down to the 40s. There's 133,000 open interest. That is a lot of money betting on AMC making some sort of considerable move between now and June 18th. And obviously, big money doesn't always get it right, but it is interesting to note how big this bet is getting, and that's at 40. Even if you look at the other major increments, 25, you have 12,000, 21, you have 19,000, 20, you have 34,000. I'm just trying to illustrate here. 15, you have 38,000. I'm just trying to illustrate the size of money that is expecting AMC to make a move between now and June 18th. So something worthwhile to note. And then in terms of the technicals, so over the past week, AMC has come down 6.9%, but don't forget, from the start of the year until this very moment, we are up 470%. And even with that 7% decline, please don't forget that from May 6th up until May 18th, at one point, AMC was on a 63% rally. I don't think it's that big of a deal that we came down 7%. I get it. I'm an ape. I'm on your side. I very much want every single day to be a massive green day. But at the end of the day, that's not really how stocks work. You run out of bullish momentum. You run into things referred to as volume exhaustion. So the fact that we had a 63% rally and now we're giving back 7% of it, I wouldn't really classify that as a loss. In fact, I wouldn't classify it as a loss at all. In terms of technical levels though, I'm still paying attention to this region between 12.25. We've caught ourselves there 3 times before. It was previous resistance. Clearly, it's now acting as support. I'm looking for that to hold. And from there, I'm looking for this third test of 1450. From March 18th all the way up until May 18th, we are in a gigantic cup and handle pattern. Here's the giant cup. We're looking to form this handle. If you crack open any technical analysis book, it will classify this pattern as a bullish pattern. Of course, there's a counterexample to every pattern, but statistically, just in terms of the odds, the deck is stacked in our favor right now. And I also want to point out that right here, this little run up, we have the break above 1225 to 1450, back down to 12. Looks very, very similar to what we saw in mid-March. And from a charting perspective, it is similar, but I want to bring up a couple of things that are different. What we had in mid-March compared to now is, at this point, there's a lot more FUD and concern about a dilution of 500 million shares. On top of that, we also knew that there was legitimately concern about the at-the-market offering, and there, Wanda owned many more shares that we knew they were trying to get out of on AMC. Fast forward to now, we definitively know the 500 million share dilution, it's not a thing. We're not even voting on it. The at-the-market offering of the $43 million, completely done, so we don't have that holding us back. And we also don't have Wanda holding us back at all. Right there, we know at some point in here they got rid of 30 million shares, and I get it. That's a reasonable headline of Wanda sells 30 million shares. You know what else is a reasonable headline? In aggregate, AMC investors buy 30 million shares. So we don't have to worry about the massive share dilution FUD. We're already done with the at-the-market offering, and Wanda is no longer a player. Well, actually, that's not even fair. They still do own 10,000 shares. And I was thinking about that. Why wouldn't they just sell it? And it tells me that for whatever reason, they still want some skin in the game. And that tells me that someone out there that's controlling Wanda's investment, they don't want to be completely zero. They want a position in case this thing still rips. And obviously, if they're keeping their investment, they think that there's some sort of reasonable statistical likelihood that they're still involved. That's why they still own 10,000 shares, because they don't want to miss the rocket ship. So once again, from a charting perspective, I get that this situation looks very, very similar to what we saw in mid-March, but in reality, it's actually way, way better for us apes. Don't forget that. And beyond the technicals and the data, there's one more thing I want to comment on that I'm seeing in this community. Whenever there's big movements, there's a lot more FUD. So first of all, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a fortune teller. No matter what you hear from whatever source, check it. Do your own due diligence, because at the end of the day, it is your money on the line. And don't forget that when we see these big movements in the stock's price, it almost like clockwork. There's more articles and more FUD out there, and I'm seeing like I guess the best way to sum it up is like aggression. But remember, at the end of the day, the media could use that against us. When they go low, we go high. Do not give the media or anyone else on any form of social media any firepower against us. I get it sometimes that there are clearly bad actors. One of the best things to do is to I guess, prove how they're wrong with data and facts, but the attacking thing, I just don't want that to really hurt our community. So that's just my 2 cents on that. I just don't think we want to give anyone any leverage against us. But once again, that's my own opinion. I would love to get your thoughts on both AMC and GameStop in a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. And if you haven't already, don't forget to join up with the Moon Gang by hitting the subscribe button. Until I catch you next time, from me and Chair, best of luck in the markets.